boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, France is learning firsthand what the natural conclusion or end goal of diversity, equity, and inclusion is, which is chaos, because that is currently what is happening in this country, okay? As these riots should be probably one of the biggest news stories in the world. I guess it is, but who knows, with the lack of coverage that we're seeing here in the media, specifically in the United States, you wouldn't think that it is, okay? But it really is insane, right? The footage that is being released of rioters who are basically tearing the country apart over the killing of a 17-year-old Arab boy during a traffic stop by French police, who have been accused on numerous occasions of being racist, okay? Does this not sound familiar, right? Does this not sound like the story that we hear all the time in the United States to justify these riots? Well, yeah, it seems that we have imported that into France. Take a look.
Overseas now. Tonight, French President Emmanuel Macron urged parents to keep their children off the streets before a fourth night of protests sparked by a deadly police shooting. CBS's Elaine Cobb is in Paris.
Fireworks turned into weapons as protesters launched them at riot police and buildings across France. Cars were torched and firefighters responded to some 6,000 fires over the last 2 nights. 45,000 police officers are on the streets. The government has deployed armoured vehicles to quell riots. Many local authorities have limited public transport services and imposed curfews. The protesters accuse the police of racism and excessive force after 17-year-old Naël, of Algerian-Moroccan descent, was shot dead at close range during a traffic stop Tuesday morning. The officer who fired the fatal shot has been placed under formal investigation for murder. A third of the 900 people arrested last night were under 18, some as young as 12. It's the responsibility of the parents to keep their children at home, said President Emmanuel Macron. Naël's mother, who led a march in his memory Thursday, will bury her son tomorrow, amid fears of renewed violence then and through the weekend. Elaine Cobb, CBS News, Paris.
Yeah, so France is going full BLM, right? We've imported BLM into France, while at the same time France is importing a massive amount of migrants into their country, a lot of whom come from these North African, Middle Eastern countries. A lot of them are Muslim, okay? And France's Muslim population is at least 10% of the country. It seems to be growing, which has created a whole lot of tensions within the country, as there are people who just are not that okay with what is happening in France in regards to immigration. And I think that these types of riots and protests that we're seeing is kind of evidence and proof that, hey, you know what? Maybe we might want to slow down here on the assimilation, right? Maybe this experiment may not be working out in our best interest, because, again, these people have not stopped. And what we're seeing here, some of the images, some of the video is more disturbing, is more messed up than what we saw during the BLM riots. I mean, the BLM riots kind of look like child's play compared to what these people are doing in France. Some of this stuff is insane, bro. I mean, they were firebombing police stations, setting whole buses on fire. I mean, stealing people's cars and putting them on fire. I mean, I've seen them allegedly attacking people, okay? You know, it's crazy, man. It's insane. Like, it's insanity. Right, it looked like a war zone. Right, France is like a third world country. So let's actually take more look at some of the videos that are going around here. Bro, they're driving cars into stores, dog. What is going on? Bro. Wow. Wow. Pure insanity.
Voilà, juste. Le mur. Attention les frères. Faites-les sortir.
I mean, this is, again, this looks like a third world country, bro. This is, France has imported this.
Abusé. Regarde, regarde,
regarde. The Muslim woman stealing stuff, right? Is this reparations, dog? Right? What's the argument for this? Okay, because in the U.S. they told us this is reparations. What's the argument for this one right here? I'm not sure. Right? Somebody tell me what's the argument. I guess you could say, I don't know, France has been causing havoc or has been responsible for some of the messed up stuff that's been happening in North Africa, okay, and in the Middle East. Maybe you can say that, right? French colonialism. Maybe this is reparations for that. Who knows?
Mais par contre, son con, ils sont même pas cagoulés,
What's
frère.
crazy to me, what's funny is that all the woke brands suffer. Apple, Nike, Zara, like all these brands, again, they're getting robbed, right? They're getting robbed. Yeah, so as you guys can see here, this looks like a war zone, right? This is a war zone, okay? And I've actually been to France. I've been to a couple cities. I've been to Paris. I've been to Bordeaux, the wine capital of the world. France is it's an okay country. It's not my favorite country, honestly. I'm not a big fan of France, to be quite honest with you. But I hate to see this happen to this country, right? I hate to see this happen, even though I'm not a huge fan of France. But this is nuts, man. It really is. But again, this is what happens, in my opinion, when you have maybe too much diversity and inclusion that happen a little bit too fast, right? You get stuff like this, okay? And again, you have the woke powers that be, the global powers that be, that embrace BLM, that told the world watched as the woke revolutionaries, okay, the agents of chaos, the young scholars of the United States of America tore up this country, right? Caused billions and billions of dollars in damage. And they said, hey, you know what? We need to do the same thing, right? Anytime we feel like there's racism or acts of racism being committed in some of these countries, right? A Western country more specifically, hey, this is the way you should act. This is the appropriate response, right? Is violence and destruction to destroy the country. Now, again, they say that the racism affects the immigrants, the low income, multi-ethnic neighborhoods in Paris and France and stuff like that. Again, it's the same thing, right? It's the same exact thing, just in Europe, right? Again, this is probably the biggest impact that BLM has had, okay, which is just causing more chaos and destruction. You really hate to see it. But I guess you could also argue that you hate to see a young teenager lose his life at the hands of police during a routine traffic stop, which, again, I don't know if racism was involved. I'm not sure if the cop was trigger happy. He claimed that he shot the kid because he thought that the kid would go and potentially run somebody over with his car. Now, I'm neither here nor there with that. I really don't know what happened. But I just know that the response, this is not the appropriate response, okay? But things are crazy in Europe, man. Because, the race stuff is out of control, okay? It really is. This story right here tells you the current state of Europe and race relations. As this story right here is crazy. But stories like this, is exactly what's coming to the United States, right? This is what the woke revolutionaries want in the United States, okay? Listen to this wild story out here in France. PSG coach Gautier in police custody as part of a discrimination probe. Okay, so this guy is in police custody because of accusations of racism and Islamophobia, right? So there's a full police investigation into this because of alleged racism and Islamophobia. Again, you can go to jail for this in France. Again, this is insane. But this is what they want in the United States. It will eventually be here, right? What starts in Europe eventually will end up in the United States. That's just kind of how it goes. Paris Saint-Germain coach Christophe Gautier was held for questioning along with his son as part of a probe into alleged discrimination. The Nice prosecutor told Agence France Presse on Friday, June 30th. The move comes after an investigation launched in April following claims he made racist and Islamophobic remarks about players when he coached Nice in the 2021/2022 season. Yeah, so this is for alleged racist and Islamophobic remarks, right? They put this man in police custody. Wow. Incredible. Okay, so you're locking people up for free speech. Okay, this is what they do in Europe. The prosecutor said they would provide more information on the arrest of Gautier and his son, a player's agent, via a statement later on Friday. Gautier is set to be fired by the Qatari owners of PSG after a largely underwhelming season in which PSG suffered 10 defeats in 2023, exiting the Champions League, the team's main objective in the last 16. The allegations first surfaced in the French media in April. The reports allege that ex-Nice sporting director Julien Fournier had written an email at the end of the 2021-2022 season in which he claimed Gautier had made discriminatory remarks at several members of the Nice squad. Quote, Gautier told me that I should take account of the reality of the city and that in effect, we should not have as many blacks and Muslims in the team. Claimed Fournier, whose relationship with Gautier was a fraught one. He told me he wanted to profoundly change the team makeup and limit the maximum number of Muslims. Gautier said he was deeply shocked by the claims and denied allegations. He launched a defamation suit of his own against the journalist who published the claims and Fournier. Yeah, so this guy, right, is going to stand trial over this. Okay, he's going to stand trial, and if found guilty of being racist, okay, if he found guilty of being racist, he could get a maximum of 3 years in jail and a $49,000 fine. Again, this is insane, man. This is absolutely insane that this is what's happening in France, right? This is what's happening. You can go to jail for racism. Again, why you have these race riots happening, right? You have these riots that people are engaged in. Again, a lot of young people, thousands arrested. Again, these are agents of chaos because apparently France is such a racist country. But meanwhile, again, you can be arrested and thrown in jail for simply saying something that is racist, right? Again, it's insane. It's absolutely insane that this is the world that we're living in. But hey, this is the end result of diversity, equity, inclusion, guys, right? Those types of events where you have those riots, those race riots, okay, chaos and destruction, and your free speech rights being taken away if you say something offensive about some type of minority, right? It's insanity. It really is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.